First contact. The sky over Proxima b never quite settled into darkness, bathing the research outpost in perpetual crimson twilight. Dr. Kai Nakamura stood at the observation deck, watching the alien landscape through reinforced glass. 3 years stationed at humanity's furthest outpost from Earth, and the view still took his breath away. "Doctor, you're needed in Bay 4, came the voice through his comm. "Captain Voss says it's urgent." Kai sighed, adjusting his lab coat. As the only xenobiologist in the outpost, urgent usually meant another strange fungus or bizarre insectoid had been discovered. Nothing that couldn't wait until after his coffee. "Tell the captain I'll be there in 10, he replied. "Sir," the captain said immediately. They found someone." Kai's heart skipped. In 3 years of exploration, they'd found microbes, plants, and primitive animals, but never anything resembling intelligent life. Bay 4 was a flurry of activity when Kai arrived. Armed guards stood at attention while medical staff hovered nervously around a sealed containment unit. Captain Voss, a stern woman with close-cropped gray hair, motioned him over. "What do we have?" Kai asked, trying to peer through the frosted glass of the containment pod. "Patrol found her unconscious at the edge of the western ridge," Voss explained. "She's humanoid, but definitely not human." Kai approached the pod as the decontamination cycle completed. The glass cleared, revealing a slender figure with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer slightly in the light. Her face was delicately structured, almost human except for the absence of ears and the faint, luminescent markings trailing from her temples down her neck. Long, silvery hair floated around her as if suspended in water, though the pod contained only air. "Remarkable," Kai whispered. "Completely bipedal, apparently mammalian." He checked the vitals displayed on the pod's monitor. Breathing oxygen, core temperature approximately 30 degrees Celsius. Lower than human normal, but stable. "Is she sentient?" Voss asked. "I don't know yet," Kai replied, unable to take his eyes off the alien. "But the anatomical sophistication suggests advanced evolution." "Has she shown any signs of consciousness?" As if in response, the alien's eyes fluttered open. They were completely violet, no whites, no visible pupils, yet somehow Kai knew she was looking directly at him. The monitoring equipment suddenly spiked, alarms blaring as her vital signs accelerated. "She's responding to our presence," Kai said, frantically adjusting controls. Her metabolic rate just doubled. The alien's body tensed, her back arching slightly as she pressed a 6-fingered hand against the glass. Her skin began to pulse with faint light, the markings on her neck growing brighter. "Should we sedate her?" a medic asked nervously. "No," Kai said firmly. "We don't know how her biology would react. Let me try something." He stepped closer to the pod, placing his hand opposite hers on the glass. The alien's eyes widened, the violet irises expanding. The light beneath her skin pulsed in rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. "She's trying to communicate," Kai murmured. Captain Voss moved forward. "Or preparing to attack." "We should." "Wait," Kai interrupted. The alien's lips were moving, forming shapes that seemed almost like words. "I think she's trying to speak." A soft, melodic sound emerged from the pod's communication system. The syllables were strange, flowing together like water, but there was definite structure to them, language. "I'm activating the universal translator," Kai said, tapping commands into his wrist console. "It won't be perfect, but it might give us something." After a moment of processing, a halting, artificial voice emerged, "Not harm. Peace. Lyria, name." "She's sentient," Kai breathed. "And she speaks a structured language. This is incredible." "Lyria," Voss repeated. "Is that your name?" The alien nodded slowly, her movements graceful despite the confines of the pod. "Lyria. From Ether. Lost." "Ether," Kai repeated. "Is that your world? Your home planet?" Lyria's skin pulsed brighter as she spoke again. People. Etherian. Ship crashed. Others, gone. She's a survivor of a crash, Kai translated for the others. Possibly the only one. Over the next several hours, Kai worked with Lyria, gradually improving communication through the translator. The medical team carefully monitored her condition as they transferred her from the containment pod to a more comfortable quarantine room. Basic tests confirmed she could breathe their atmosphere and consume water, though food compatibility remained uncertain. What fascinated Kai most was how her physiology responded to human proximity. Whenever he or any other human entered the room, the luminescent patterns on her skin brightened, and her vital signs showed subtle but significant changes. Your presence seems to trigger something in her biology, Dr. Novak, the chief medical officer, observed. Her cellular activity increases by nearly 40% when you're near, especially you, Kai. Is it a stress response? Captain Voss asked, concern evident in her voice. I don't think so, Kai replied. Her cortisol equivalent isn't spiking. It's more like activation. As if our presence is waking something up in her physiology. 3 days later, Kai sat across from Lyria in the quarantine room. The translator had improved significantly, allowing for more complex conversation. Lyria had proven to be not just sentient but highly intelligent, quickly learning English phrases to supplement the translation. Your world, she said, gesturing to the window where Proxima B's rusty landscape stretched to the horizon. Not your home world. No, Kai replied. Our home is Earth. It's many light years from here. Why come so far? Lyria asked, her head tilting in curiosity. To explore. To learn. To find life like yours, Kai smiled. We've been searching the stars for centuries, hoping to find evidence we're not alone. Lyria's skin brightened, the patterns shifting into new configurations. Kai had begun to recognize these changes as emotional responses. Not alone, she agreed. Many worlds. Many peoples. She paused, placing a hand on her chest. Ether, lost now. What happened to your world? Kai asked gently. Pain flashed across her features. Great darkness. Stars dying. We fled, many ships. Scattered across stars. Her voice dropped. Long journey. Very long. Kai nodded sympathetically. How long have you been traveling? Lyria's response sent a chill through him. Sleep cycles. Many. Hundreds. Perhaps thousands. Thousands of years. Kai whispered. You were in some form of stasis. Yes. Sleep until. Her skin suddenly pulsed brightly, startling him. She reached toward him, stopping just short of touching his hand. Until found by compatible ones. Before Kai could ask what she meant, Lyria gasped, doubling over. Her skin flared with intense light, the patterns racing across her body. Lyria. What's happening? Kai moved to help her, calling for medical assistance. Beginning, she managed, her voice strained. The change, expected. Natural. Her body trembled as the markings on her skin began to shift, extending along her arms like flowing water. When she looked up at Kai, her violet eyes had deepened to indigo, small flecks of gold appearing within them. Don't fear, she whispered as medical staff rushed in. This is why we came. To join. Later that night, as Kai reviewed the medical scans, he discovered something astonishing. Lyria's DNA, or her species equivalent, was actively restructuring itself. But the pattern was familiar, containing elements that resembled human genetic sequences. In her quarters, Lyria sat alone, her transformed skin casting soft light across the room. She opened her hand, revealing a small crystal memory device she'd kept hidden since her arrival. Inside were the ancient records of her people, the true history of the Etherians and their search across the stars for the species they had once been genetically engineered to complement. Soon, she whispered to herself as her body continued its transformation. Soon they will understand why we have searched so long to find them. Transformation and truth. The morning light filtered through the quarantine room's small window, casting prismatic patterns across the walls. Dr. Kai Nakamura stood frozen at the doorway, unable to tear his eyes from the being before him. Lyria was no longer the frail blue-skinned alien they'd found 3 days ago. Her skin had deepened to a rich indigo, laced with intricate patterns of luminescence that pulsed in harmony with her breathing. The markings from her temples now extended across her entire body in swirling, symmetrical designs that seemed to shift subtly even as he watched. Her silvery hair had grown longer overnight, now hovering around her as if suspended in invisible currents. The changes, Kai finally managed, stepping cautiously into the room. They're accelerating. Lyria turned to him, her newly golden-flecked eyes fixing on his with startling intensity. Yes, she replied, her voice clearer now, melodic in a way that sent shivers down his spine. The proximity makes it faster. Proximity to what? Kai asked, though something in him already suspected the answer. To you, she said simply. To humans. Captain Voss and Dr. Novak appeared behind Kai, both visibly startled by Lyria's transformation. Voss's hand immediately went to her sidearm. What the hell is happening to her? Voss demanded. I'm fulfilling my purpose, Lyria answered before Kai could speak. She rose from her seated position, her movements fluid and graceful. The air around her seemed to shimmer slightly, distorting the light. And what purpose is that? Voss asked sharply. Lyria's expression softened. To bridge. To connect. My ancestors engineered our species for this moment. Dr. Novak stepped forward, medical scanner in hand. Her cellular structure is reorganizing at the molecular level. I've never seen anything like it. Is it dangerous? Voss pressed. Not to you, Lyria assured them. Only to me, if interrupted. Kai found himself instinctively moving closer to Lyria, drawn by something he couldn't explain. The memory device you showed me last night, he said quietly. It contains your history, doesn't it? Lyria nodded. The true history of the Etherians. We were once like you, solid, bound by physical limitations. Then the darkness came. The darkness? Voss repeated skeptically. A cosmic event, Lyria explained. Radiation from dying stars threatened all life in our system. Our scientists found a way to adapt our biology, to evolve beyond our physical limitations. But the process was incomplete. Kai's scientific mind raced with the implications. You needed a catalyst, he whispered. A compatible species. Yes, Lyria confirmed, her skin brightening at his understanding. We scattered across the stars, our bodies in stasis, programmed to awaken only when we found the right biological signature. Humans. Captain Voss's expression hardened. I don't like the sound of this. How do we know this transformation isn't a threat? Some kind of biological weapon? It's not a weapon, Kai insisted. It's evolution. Adaptation. That's exactly what worries me, Doctor, Voss countered. What is she adapting into? And what does it mean for us? Before Lyria could answer, alarms blared throughout the facility. A voice came over the intercom, unidentified vessels approaching the atmosphere. All personnel to defense stations. Voss immediately activated her comm. This is Captain Voss. Report. 3 ships, Captain, came the response. Design unlike anything in our database. They're heading directly for us. Lyria's eyes widened, fear evident in her expression. The Reapers, she breathed. They've found me. Who are the Reapers? Kai asked urgently. Those who hunt us, Lyria explained, her voice trembling. A faction that believes our transformation threatens the natural order. They follow the awakened ones, destroying them before the process can complete. Voss turned to Kai, her expression grave. Lock her down, Doctor. Until we know what we're dealing with, she stays in quarantine. Captain, Kai began to protest. That's an order, Nakamura, Voss snapped, already moving toward the door. Guard detail stays in place. No one enters or leaves without my authorization. After Voss left, Kai turned to Lyria, whose luminescent patterns had dimmed with distress. I'll help you, he promised. But I need to understand what's happening, to you, and to us. There isn't much time, Lyria said urgently. She extended her hand, the patterns on her palm forming intricate, swirling designs. Take it. The connection will show you what words cannot. Kai hesitated only briefly before placing his hand in hers. The moment their skin touched, a jolt of energy coursed through him. Images flooded his mind, stars exploding, a civilization transforming, ships scattering across vast gulfs of space, and throughout it all, a search, endless, patient, desperate, for the key to their salvation. He gasped as the connection broke, stumbling back slightly. You're not just adapting, he realized. You're becoming something between our species. A bridge. Yes, Lyria confirmed. The Etherians discovered that human DNA contains sequences that complete our transformation, allowing us to transcend physical limitations while maintaining consciousness. But the Reapers believe such evolution is unnatural, an abomination. Outside, the facility trembled as the unknown ships entered the atmosphere. Security personnel rushed past the quarantine room, weapons ready. We need to get you out of here, Kai decided, moving to the control panel to deactivate the quarantine barriers. Dr. Novak blocked his path. What are you doing, Kai? You heard the captain's orders. Those ships aren't here to make contact, Eliza, Kai argued. They're hunters, and Lyria is their prey. If they find her here, they'll destroy this entire facility to get to her. Novak wavered, looking between Kai and Lyria. How can you be sure? I saw it, Kai insisted. When we touched, a direct neural connection. Everything she's saying is true. Another tremor shook the room, stronger this time. The lights flickered. They're already scanning for my energy signature, Lyria said, her skin pulsing with increasing brightness. The transformation is accelerating in response to the threat. I can't control it much longer. Novak made her decision, stepping aside. What's your plan? The research shuttle in Bay 2, Kai said, working quickly to deactivate the quarantine field. Small enough to avoid detection if we can get clear of the facility. As the barriers came down, Lyria stepped forward, then collapsed to her knees, her body convulsing. Light erupted from her skin, so bright that Kai and Novak had to shield their eyes. What's happening to her? Novak cried. The final phase, Lyria gasped through clenched teeth. Too soon. The danger is accelerating the process. Her body began to change more dramatically, her solid form becoming translucent in places, the light within her coalescing into complex, crystalline structures. Her fingers elongated, the skin between them thinning until they resembled delicate, light-emitting fronds. Can you walk? Kai asked urgently. Lyria nodded, though her movements were unsteady as she rose. The physical pain will pass. But we must hurry. They made their way through the corridors, avoiding the main hallways where security would be concentrated. The facility rocked with what felt like weapons fire, emergency lights casting everything in ominous red. Just as they reached Bay 2, a security detail appeared, led by Lieutenant Mercer. Stop right there, Mercer ordered, raising his weapon. Captain's orders are to secure the alien. Kai stepped protectively in front of Lyria. You don't understand what's happening, Lieutenant. Those ships out there, they're here to kill her, and they'll destroy this entire outpost to do it. Step aside, Doctor, Mercer insisted, his weapon unwavering. Lyria moved forward, her transformed body emanating gentle waves of light. "I mean no harm," she said softly. As she spoke, the light from her body seemed to extend outward, enveloping the security team in a shimmering aura. Mercer's expression changed from harsh determination to wonder. His weapon lowered slightly. "What we fear," Lyria continued, "is often what we don't understand. My people have searched for yours for millennia, not to conquer or harm, but to complete a journey begun long ago." The security team stood transfixed as Lyria's light touched each of them. Kai could sense something passing between them, understanding, perhaps, or something deeper. "Let them pass," Mercer finally said, stepping aside. They boarded the shuttle quickly, Kai taking the controls while Novak helped Lyria into a seat. Her transformation was accelerating, parts of her body now appeared almost liquid, light flowing through her like currents in water. "Can you fly us out of here?" Novak asked as Kai powered up the engines. "I'm going to try," he replied, his fingers dancing across the control panel. "The shuttle stealth systems might get us past those ships if we time it right." As they lifted off, the main hangar doors exploded inward. Through the flames stepped humanoid figures in sleek, obsidian armor. Their faces were hidden behind featureless masks, but their intent was clear as they raised weapon-like appendages toward the rising shuttle. "Reapers," Lyria whispered, fear evident in her voice. Energy bolts lanced from the Reapers' weapons, narrowly missing the shuttle as Kai pushed the engines to maximum. They shot through the hangar opening, climbing rapidly into Proxima B's ruddy sky. "They're following," Novak reported, watching the scanner. 3 ships, closing fast. Lyria's transformation had reached a critical point. Her physical form was barely maintaining cohesion, light pouring from her in cascading waves. The shuttle's interior filled with a gentle radiance that seemed to flow like water. "I can't contain it much longer," she gasped. "The final phase requires completion." Kai looked back at her, understanding dawning. "What do you need?" "Connection," she whispered. "Full neural synchronization. It will complete the transformation and protect you." "Kai, whatever you're thinking," Novak began. "There's no choice," Kai interrupted. He set the autopilot and moved to Lyria's side. "Tell me what to do." Lyria extended her transformed hands, now more light than substance. "Join with me. Don't fear what comes after." As Kai took her hands, the light engulfed him completely. His consciousness expanded, merging with Lyria's in a cascade of shared memories and understanding. He felt himself changing, not physically but perceptually, as if barriers he'd never known existed were dissolving. Through their connection, he understood at last the true nature of the Etherians. They were not seeking to consume or replace humanity, but to evolve alongside them, to form a symbiotic relationship that would elevate both species. The Reapers were not alien hunters but Etherians who feared this evolution, who believed that such transcendence threatened the natural order. Outside the shuttle, the Reaper ships closed in, weapons charging. But as they prepared to fire, Lyria's transformation completed. A pulse of energy radiated outward from the shuttle, washing over the pursuing ships. Their systems flickered and failed, the vessels drifting powerless. Inside, where Lyria had been, now hovered a being of pure luminescence, humanoid in shape but composed of intricate patterns of light and energy. Kai stood beside her, unchanged physically but forever altered in perception. "It is done," Lyria's voice echoed in his mind. "The bridge is formed." Dr. Novak stared in astonishment. "What just happened? What are you now?" The being that was Lyria smiled, a ripple of brighter light across her luminescent form. "The first of many bridges between our peoples. The Reapers cannot harm us now, for they cannot understand what we have become." Kai turned to Novak, his eyes alight with wonder. "She didn't come to invade or conquer. She came to show us the next step, a symbiotic evolution that neither species could achieve alone." As they turned the shuttle back toward the outpost, Kai knew that everything would change. The arrival of Lyria wasn't just first contact, it was the beginning of humanity's next great evolutionary leap. On the surface below, more Etherian ships appeared in the atmosphere, responding to Lyria's call, not invaders, but pilgrims who had searched the stars for thousands of years, seeking the species that could complete their journey. The true transformation was just beginning.